All right, welcome to News 6 Extra. I'm Christopher Heath. It is Tuesday, September the 23rd. We are chugging our way through the month. Gosh, September feels like Kathleen, it does feel like September just started. And here we are. I mean, 23rd, government may be shutting down in 7 days. This month is going quick.
Well, let's hope the government doesn't shut down. But yeah, it is. It is going by very quick.
Yeah, I just know I mentioned that because I was coming out of my office to come in here as somebody was tapping on my glass, reminding me of how behind schedule I was. I won't name names. But I saw a headline pop up and it said government shut down September 30th. And I was in my office with somebody and they were like, oh, that's a week from now. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Fun times.
And I'll admit, I'm the one that was tapping and reminding you. That
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let the viewers draw their own conclusions as to
no.
anyone who could have been.
No, that's me. That's the producer in me,
That's the hallmark of a great producer is to ensure that the talent, so to speak, is where they need to be
Right.
at the agreed upon times.
That's true.
So thank you. Well, keeps me on schedule. All righty. All right. Well, I told you we could just start with David Nazario because he's here.
Sure.
We got the thing fixed. The thing got plugged back in. We reset the other thing. Flipped the switch. I don't know what happened with what.
All the things are fixed.
I will say this. So yesterday when it wasn't working, I went to the News 6 weather app on my phone. And I was just like, I was just like recapping what I was reading there. I was like, so it says like 30% chance of rain and not doing a good job is what I'm getting at.
No, actually, that's pretty solid if you ask me, and that's where everyone should be going in
Yes.
the meteorologist apps and is the News 6 weather app. So I think you did the right thing, Chris.
Encouraging. Nothing if not a company man, David Nazario. Plug that app. Okay, so the weather is, listen, I got out this morning. The humidity's clearly back. We have at least two things we're keeping an eye on out there, as well as the named storm, which is just churning its way up towards the Arctic. I mean, it's, relatively speaking, typical September. Quiet a little bit.
It is. Yeah. Honestly, it really is. And in fact, go ahead.
I was going to say, so what, I mean, I was going to kind of transition to what are we shaping up for? I mean, I kind of feel like this can't, to quote Herb Stein, anything that can't go on forever must end. I feel like this weather we're in, it's
exactly
going to coming to an end soon. Okay. So what are we looking at, David?
Yeah, so it is fall now, but we're not quite into the fall season here in Central Florida. Let me get you some of those headlines now, as a matter of fact. This is what we've got for the second half of your Tuesday. So rains are going to make it much further to the north today with some thunderstorms possible during the mid-afternoon. And as a result, this could result in some weather delays on your commute as you're headed home from the office or getting home from school later on today. And in fact, once we get over to the radar right now, we're already starting to see that increased moisture and the heat of the day pop off some stuff through Brevard and interior portions of Osceola County. And we're only expecting for these areas to continue to grow now that we're getting to the warmest part of the day. It's all thanks to our tropical moisture surge. You can kind of see that funneling effect like a fire hose right over the Florida peninsula. We have a little bit of energy inside that flow as well. And that's what's going to help to further ignite a little bit more extensive showers and thunderstorms today, unlike what we saw yesterday. Yesterday was the bottom 1/3, if not the bottom half of the peninsula. Now we're really going to begin to start working into our viewing area. And then down the road, looking at the water vapor setup further west, we have our next developing system. This is a kicker here. This is not only going to influence our weather this weekend, but also what's going on out in the tropics. We'll talk about that here momentarily. You can also see we're in between systems now for sure. The winds have really calmed down. Last weekend into yesterday, we were still fairly breezy out there. We still had the rip current issues along the coastline. Things have subsided for now since we are in between systems, and that next approaching one off to our west is what's going to help to stir the pot a little bit over the next 2 to 3 days. Temperatures outside right now, these are what really haven't changed all that much, but if you do notice where we are starting to see the showers and the storms begin to blossom, see the bit of a difference that we have going on there. Titusville at 90 degrees, whereas Cape Canaveral at 82 degrees. Same with Cocoa Beach coming in at 82. And then the further west you go, we start to get a little bit warmer since the sun is still shining right now. And it will continue to do so this afternoon. You can see for the majority of us, we are going to see 90 degrees on the thermostat. The further east you go, you get a little bit of that easterly breeze coming on the east coast, the Atlantic coast of Florida, that should keep it a little more on the mild side. But regardless, that humidity is what's going to be cranking. And because of the humidity, the heat index, the feels like temps, are also going to be flirting with that 100-degree threshold here over the next 12 hours, give or take. Now, in terms of fall, I hate to say it, but we're not quite going to see it just yet. In fact, it does look like we're going to get a unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, extension of the summertime here in Central Florida and kind of up the East Coast. It's going to be the rains that predominantly provide us with a little bit of relief. And so, with that being said, let's plan the rest of your day. 1 o'clock coming up here very fast. We got about 20 till, looking at 20% shot of rain with low, or I should say highs in the low 90s. That tropical moisture feed is going to encourage more showers and storms further north you go, getting further into the likes of Osceola, Polk, Orange, Seminole, even Lake and Sumter, as far west as Lake and Sumter County, between 4 and 7 o'clock. Notice we're up to 60% chance of rainfall. And this is what we're looking at today. Notice everything comes to a slow boil as we get to the mid-afternoon hours. We start to see more of that stuff beginning to reach its grasp into our viewing area. Yesterday, a lot of the heavier rain stayed in southern Polk, Osceola, maybe the lower periphery of Brevard. But as we go through the rest of the day today and into tomorrow, and more of the moisture can bleed north through the peninsula, we're only going to see this rain continue to move with it. And notice it does hang out fairly late once that east coast sea breeze really begins to kick in a little bit thanks to the heating of the day. And even just after sunset, we may still have some light rain, some steady rainfall out there in Central Florida before clearing out well after the sunset, and we can get some of that moisture up out of there. Now, what I want to do is jump straight into that setup out there. And I'm going to walk you through it. This is a mixture of winds and moisture. And the reason why I have it pulled up the way that I do, we're looking at the strongest winds high up in the atmosphere and then our mid-level moisture to show you a combination of things. So as we track that system through the plains, notice that trough begins to dig its way southward. You can see that strong corridor of winds indicated by the blues and the greens there. But then as it starts to near our neck of the woods, kind of starts to lose a little bit of its luster. See how early Saturday morning we're starting to see more of just a leftover spin over portions of upper Alabama, Georgia, kind of centered over Tennessee. And then down off to the right-hand side, this right here could be a combo of 94L and 93L that we're watching. And I'll put a little question mark because this is going to be a very tricky setup. I am not looking forward to forecasting for not only the upper low that could be coming in from our west, as well as those two tropical features. So with that being said, let's get you the latest on what's happening out there. So this is going to be Hurricane Gabrielle, still a major hurricane. Fantastic system, and I can openly say that because it's not affecting anybody. We're just getting some stats in for the hurricane season, and through the life cycle of it, we've gone up and down pretty significantly. Max sustained wind still at 940 miles an hour. Central pressure has not moved very much at around 948 millibars, and the path of least resistance, the forecast path for this system, believe it or not, the only area that may feel effects from Gabrielle are going to be the Azores of the Northeast Atlantic and then Spain and Portugal. So we're going across the Atlantic in the opposite direction in relative to where we typically see these tropical systems move. And then now we've got our two invest areas. We've got 94L to the left, 93L to the right. Formation chances continue to steadily increase. Both of these features are looking fairly impressive on satellite imagery. The back one, the further to the right, looking a little healthier. What's very interesting about 94L, though, is it's very hard to pinpoint where the center is, and it looks like it's trying to jog a little further to the south. So we're going to watch these things. Since they're rubbing elbows with each other out there in the tropics, that's going to do some very wonky things to not only the way the models grab them, but especially what the satellite representation of them looks like. So Gabrielle, we've adjusted the icon here. We've got the lever number 4 next to Gabrielle, and then I've got arrows next to Umberto and Imelda. Those two look to be on tap, coming right up next. Traditional September fashion, if you will, and then we'll go ahead and start to close out. I know I took a little more time. I do apologize for that, but wanted to get through everything. We'll close out with your 7-day forecast. Rain chances going up between today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and then you can see starting to build back up once again, even more so into this weekend, all thanks to that approaching system I pointed out west currently.
I like the fact that we have the next two names in the it's Umberto and was the other one?
Imelda.
With our next two names, Imelda. I like how we have those two very, very classy names. You know, they're fancy. And then behind that, you have Jerry and Karen. Coming behind
exactly.
Umberto and Imelda,
From
we
this
have
to this.
Jerry and Karen. Yeah, it's like you have it's very, very nice over here. The other side's like Jerry and Karen bringing up the rear. Oh man! Oh, just our luck. Karen will be the one that it's like Hurricane Jerry slams in, and then Karen's coming in next. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think they did that on purpose, NHC, when they put the names together.
Just drawing from a hat. All right. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. One of the big stories we have been following, obviously, the last week or so has been the death out at Epic Universe. The man who died on one of the roller coasters out there. The family late last night hired noted attorney Ben Crump, who has already put out a list of demands around this death. And as Mark Lehman reports, a lot of new developments in this story as it continues to unfold, and the investigation obviously continues as well.
According to Universal Orlando's president, the ride was functioning as intended. Deputies, meanwhile, are working to determine if there was any case of negligence, and all of this is happening as the attorney for Zavala's family is calling for full transparency. As an investigation is ongoing into last week's death involving a man at Epic Universe, the Orange County Sheriff's Office has also directed the ME to not release reports related to the death of Kevin Zavala. In a statement to News 6, OCSO saying, in cases which appear at first glance to be accidental deaths, which this case does, detectives must determine whether there is any negligence, whether criminal or non-criminal. An incident report stated Zavala had a pre-existing spinal injury, and a GoFundMe page includes pictures of him in a wheelchair. The chief medical examiner determined his manner of death was an accident and the cause multiple blunt impact injuries. Universal Orlando president and COO Karen Irwin sent a memo to staff saying internal findings confirmed that the ride systems functioned as intended, equipment was intact, and team members followed procedures. The Department of Agriculture backing that up with a statement of their own, saying the department's current findings align with those shared by Universal after monitoring the same tests and reviewing the same information. Meanwhile, Zavala's family has retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump, writing to us, "A man has died after boarding a ride that should have been safe. We will hold all responsible parties to account and fight to ensure Kevin's family receives the answers and justice they deserve." Crump has also called for investigators to release maintenance logs and inspection records for the ride. Meanwhile, we're learning the GoFundMe established by Zavala's family has raised more than $26,000. We posted a link to that under this story on clickorlando.com. In Orlando, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, and from Universal to Disney. Not necessarily the Disney theme parks in this case, more along the lines of Disney, the overarching company. Disney, as you are probably well aware, owns ABC, ESPN, number of other things. And the company announced that after quickly suspending Jimmy Kimmel, it's made a decision. It's bringing Jimmy Kimmel back. And, some of the affiliates, Nexstar and Sinclair, two of the biggest ownership groups of affiliated TV stations in the United States, have said that they're going to preempt the show, which will be back on the air tonight. CBS's Jonathan Viglotti has the latest.
Our long national late nightmare is over.
Our friend Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air.
Late night show hosts rejoiced Jimmy Kimmel's return to television tonight.
Jimmy Kimmel!
It was last Wednesday that Disney, the parent company of ABC, took the show off the air because Kimmel said this.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
On Monday, Disney said the decision was made to bench Kimmel because the comments were, quote, ill-timed and insensitive. But after, quote, having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. Hours before Kimmel's show was reinstated, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr said Kimmel's suspension had nothing to do with government influence.
Jimmy Kimmel is in the situation that he's in because of his ratings.
What followed last week's suspension was a fierce debate about free speech from Democrats and Republicans, including Senator Ted Cruz, who likened the FCC chair's actions to a gangster movie.
That's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, "Nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it."
More than 400 stars signed an open letter from the ACLU, including Tom Hanks, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Meryl Streep, saying Kimmel's removal was, quote, unconstitutional.
The backlash was troubling.
Ryan Steinberg is a senior editor at Variety.
Disney prides itself on being a very creative company. A lot of Hollywood was against this. So I'm sure that Disney noticed very quickly.
And one of ABC's largest affiliate owners, Sinclair, saying it will continue to preempt the program for its 38 stations as it continues its conversation with ABC. We should also mention we reached out to Nexstar, another affiliate owner, about its plan moving forward and have not heard back. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Hollywood.
We have to wonder what that's going to look like. It's back on tonight. Of course, it's not on our air, so anyway. I don't say that to be glib. I'm just, we're a CBS affiliate. We don't show Jimmy Kimmel. So if you choose to watch, that's something you choose to do. But I'm not going to naturally encourage people to watch anything other than WKMG News 6. It's my job. All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. Thank you for joining us on this. If you were watching News 6 this morning, you were the first to hear that as News 6 first reported, the town of Eatonville, the historic town of Eatonville, has reached a deal to reacquire the Hungerford school land. This is something we first reported this morning. The land is held by Orange County Public Schools, and it's been a bit of a legal back and forth for several years as to try and bring this land back into the historic town of Eatonville. And as News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden shows us, a familiar charity actually stepped in to help make this finally happen.
The property sits at the corner of Hungerford and Keller Road and has been in the crosshairs of controversy for decades.
This is bigger than big. When you have a town that for so many years, even decades, citizens have come to believe that nothing is going to happen.
Eatonville was founded in 1887 by formerly enslaved people. It is recognized as the first self-governing all-black municipality in the United States. People who live here have heard promises before.
We have been neglected for years.
Longtime residents like Michelle Fort says she's ready to see real change.
We want better for our home. We don't want a handout. We want somebody to partner in to say, we believe in what you believe in.
Mayor Gardner says this deal is different.
Now we have a 100-year organization with a proven record of helping and partnering with communities that are saying, hey, we'll get it done for you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That partner is Dr. Phillips Charities. Its chairman tells News 6 protecting Eatonville's legacy means more than just buying land.
We'll work very, very hard to make sure that there's little to no displacement of residents. We want to work with the mayor and her team to make sure that we increase the percentage of owner-occupied homes in this community, to stabilize this community, so that we protect the legacy and the history of Eatonville.
Under the agreement, Dr. Phillips Charities will pay $1 million up front. The rest of the purchase price is forgiven as milestones are completed.
This is more than a land deal. This is a legacy.
In Eatonville, Ginger Gadsden, News 6.
And such a great thing there for the historic town of Eatonville. If you've not been through Eatonville, it is one of those communities with such rich history, and recently was made a early voting site for Orange County. So, you know, Orange County, you can vote at any early voting site. And I know a lot of people took advantage of Eatonville and its shorter lines during the last election to go vote there early. So good to see. So going from the historic town of Eatonville to Kissimmee, and Kissimmee with a new program in place, not really new per se, but a program in place to help businesses that are still suffering some of the lingering effects of the COVID pandemic, businesses that were shut down and incurred some, you know, losses along the way. And as our community correspondent from Osceola County, Stephanie Rodriguez, reports, this new program's in place to help make sure those businesses stay on their feet.
The business owner I spoke with tells me it's been hard to build her business back to what it once was. So this is welcome news.
So we're all about metaphysical healing.
Since 2015, Sacred Alchemy Healing Spa has been in place for spiritual services in Kissimmee.
I'm a third-generation herbalist.
It's also a business that's struggled since the pandemic.
It was very hard. We couldn't really regain the full clientele. You know, life had changed for everyone financially, emotionally. You know, it was basically the essential things that they needed.
A small business grant from the city would help her immensely, like the COVID relief one she received in 2021.
And if it wasn't for that grant, I wouldn't have survived. You know, was able to remarket, you know, try to strategically figure out how to promote my business from where we were at now. So that grant saved me.
Now Ethier has an opportunity to get more help. Kissimmee is offering a relief grant to small businesses still feeling the impact of the pandemic. Eligible businesses include those that saw a decrease in revenue between 2020 and 2023 compared to 2019, had increased operating costs, think rent, insurance, and inventory, and those that have pandemic-related debt affecting cash flow.
It's a blessing because it's very difficult. You know, it's very difficult. A lot of us have not recuperated yet.
We have a link to apply for the relief grant at clickorlando.com. I'm your Kissimmee community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, Kathleen, we are wrapping up today with NASA. New astronauts, class of 2025. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. That is a big deal. I'm kind of envious because as a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. So very envious of these 10 new astronaut candidates.
I was going to ask that, and you already answered the question for me. Did you ever want to be an astronaut? I did.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, I did not. Between the movie Space Camp, which scared me with running out of oxygen, to I was way too young when I saw Alien for the first time.
Okay.
I just was like, between running out of oxygen and the face hugger grabbing you and shoving its, ovipositor down your throat and laying a clutch of eggs in your abdomen only for them to burst out and consume you from the inside, I think I will stay here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. I actually did go to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama when I was a teenager, so I got to see where the movie was filmed. So that was kind of
okay.
Cool, but
did you get to do anything cool? Did they Any zero G stuff or simulated or no?
Oh yeah, we got to do some different little simulations. One of them was we got to kind of get hooked up to this pulley system, and it was like we were doing like an EVA or a spacewalk. So we got to simulate that and simulate some emergencies, and so it was actually a really good thing as a teenager to go to. Yeah.
Well, you know what? If one of these 10 can't do it, I will submit your name that you should take their spot, because we have, what, as 6 women, 4 men, chosen from 8,000 applicants. Woo.
Right.
Yep. So they get training for the next 2 years, and NASA is hopeful that as the Artemis program continues to move forward, we will be sending some of these brave astronauts to the moon, maybe even Mars, the red planet. Not sure about the Mars thing. I believe, and I could be wrong. Listen, my degree is in, well, it's not in engineering, that's for sure. I think Mars is a one-way trip.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to I mean, I guess you could show up and terraform the place, but you're not coming back.
Well, that's a good point. And it would take so long to get there, right?
Yeah. Well, that gives the face hugger time to insert the ovipositor down your throat. Now, that would be my sorry, but no, because once you get to Mars, like the fuel and everything to take off and leave Mars's gravity and get back to Earth, there's just
you would have to set up some kind of habitat there. But in order to do that, you would have to go and build it. So, but yeah, I'm not smart enough to figure this out.
This is why we're doing this.
Right.
And NASA has not called up and like, Chris and Kathleen, we need you desperately to figure out how to get astronauts back from Mars. I'd be like,
well, no, this is why we're in TV. That's exactly right.
What you do is send a second rocket, and I'm out of ideas. No, you'd have to go there and terraform it, and then I guess come back. And the other thing that I've always found interesting about the planets is how, obviously we're kind of what they call the Goldilocks zone, where, we're far enough away from the sun that we get warmth, but we don't get cooked. We got that wonderful magnetic, shield that prevents all the solar radiation and everything. And then all the other planets is like, most of them are just absolute hellscapes. Mars is like the thing that's the closest to what we have, and it's not even that close.
Right.
So Venus would kill you instantly. You'd burn to death on Mercury, I'm guessing. I would assume so. And then you just get crushed on all the others because of their incredible gravity. Those that actually have a solid surface. So setting aside Jupiter and Saturn.
Right. So I think that's why they're setting the sights on Mars, because that's the most doable, I guess.
Mars, yes. And pour one out for poor Pluto. Back in my day, we had 9 planets, dadgummit.
Oh, poor Pluto.
Poor Pluto. Not really much of a planet. Kind of just a weird thing floating out there. All righty, that does it for our time today. Kathleen, thank you so much. Good luck on the astronaut thing. I will I will look for your update on LinkedIn.
Right. Right. I don't think they'll be calling me anytime soon. I'll just put that out there.
You were number 11 out of the group. If one of those 10 can't do it, then you are first in line.
Right.
Because it sure as hell ain't going to be me. All righty.
It won't be me either.
Right. You're closer than I am. All right, Kathleen, thank you so much. Thank you to David Nazario for the weather. And, of course, thank you for watching this. Again, it's so much fun to sit here and do this every day with you guys, and I really appreciate everybody for tuning into this. Of course, we break news all the time on clickorlando.com, and we'll be on the air starting at 4 o'clock today with the very latest on not just Epic Universe, but the First Lady, Casey DeSantis, will be in town with the Lieutenant Governor for an event, so we'll be covering that as well as several other big things happening across Central Florida. So tune in for that starting at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, we'll see you back here tomorrow at 12:30 for News 6 Extra. Have a fantastic Tuesday. Bye.